Hey everyone, and welcome back to Remember This Tech. On today's episode, I'm going to be trying to fix this Dell XPS 2720 all-in-one PC with a Intel 4th Gen i7 in there and a touchscreen and 27-inch screen here. We have to take it apart. We have to find out what's going on with it, and then we can try and fix it. Maybe upgrade it to an SSD and see what we can do to make it perform a little bit faster. But the first step is to find out what's going on with it. Odds are it's a power supply, because these are known for the power supplies burning out on them. So come along with me. I'll show you how to take it apart, pull the power supply, get the part number. We will also see if we can disconnect the cooling solution for the CPU, clean it up, re-thermal paste it, and maybe the GPU and clean out the fans. We'll go from there. So come along with me if you're interested in how to repair this, how to upgrade this unit. If you have one, if you've come across one, hopefully this video might help you out. So without further ado, let's get right into it. First step is to remove the two screws. You have one here, and then you have one here. And then remove the stand. These screws don't actually come out. I mean, they can, but moreover, they just hold on this plate and it just kind of comes up after you do the, it's like a retention mechanism right here. And then it comes right up. The back plate, slide it forward and off. Once this is off, the back plate is off, you'll have everything exposed. This is the heatsink CPU fan here. It leads into the back cover. Accessible slot for the RAM here. You can just take this off if that's all you need to do. But there is also the hard drive underneath this. So we'll show you that later. But over here, this is the power supply unit. It has to come out. It's a 260 watt Dell branded power supply. Here's your optical media slot drive. A fan for the power supply. Taking off these screws here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 will remove this stand. So you can get at the hard drive. And then there are L4 screws here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8 down there. Those are for removing the back plate to get into the circuit board where the CPU is and the graphics card. The power supply screws are here. Don't lose them. Here. And then here. And then down here. And then one way down there. I think that it should come out after this, like so. So it kind of lifts up. In order to get it completely out of here, we have to remove the plate here, holding on the stand. And it looks like there's a cross-threaded screw here that somebody put in or took off, or this has been taken apart before. Take off the stand really quick. Now I can see how you can think, oh, don't use that power drill to take the screws out. I mean, you can take them out with this. Don't put them back in there with this, because you could strip them, torque them out. Alright, once it's there, it comes out like that. Look, no hard drive. Someone's already been in here. Hence why that screw is screwed up. Get it? Screw it up. Ha ha ha. Following the path back for this, there's multiple connections. Looks like we have to remove the casing here with the last screw out for this metal housing. You can see that it basically lifts up. The metal edges are sharp. Do not cut yourself. You have your graphics card, heatsink, and fan exposed. You have the CPU heat pipes, heatsink that lead to the fan over here. They're exposed as well. But moreover, you have the power supply connections here that are disconnectable from the board. And if you noticed, this is it almost looks like an 8-pin graphics card power supply connection, right? And then you have a 4-pin here. So we have to remove them from the board, and they're clipped in by a plastic clip back here and run behind the fan. It's wrapped around and underneath here. You have your RAM access here. This right here is an M SATA. It's a 32 gig. Is it 32 gig? Let me see. And it's only for M SATA. You can't put anything else in there. And it was kind of like a speed boost, speed assist for the systems back then. It's a 32 gig M SATA. Yeah, it was kind of like a speed boost thing, cache, I think, back then. Or it might even have the OS on there. Not sure. So you have an M SATA drive. You can upgrade this, replace this. And there is an option on some units here to put like a TV card. See, it says mini TV card. Other functions and features that may or may not come with a particular unit. And if we pull the RAM, so we have 2 Samsung memory modules in this unit, and they are 8 gig DDR3 each, so 16 gig total. Pretty respectable. Up here is your wireless card. Once I have the screws out, there's only 4. They're labeled M43. This hard drive chassis comes out. You have connection here for your power supply, and that's the last one. That you can take it out after that. Carefully, of course. There are these connections that have to be delicately removed. And then take this unit here, Dell branded power supply, 260 watt. It's really dinky and it's caked with dust. It's probably burnt out, but I'm gonna test it. While I'm in here, might as well disconnect this heat pipe. See if I can get under there without too much problem. There's a screw over there, 1 screw. So if you remove that, this whole assembly, I guess, or ground, that you should be careful of over here, but you can take this out gently, like so. And then you can take it apart and clean off the thermal paste from your copper heatsink. Let's see, we'll clean this off, hold on. So what we have here is an i7 4770, and it's a very respectable CPU. Still hold its own weight in most things in today's day and age, in fact. And the thermal paste was not dried out, believe it or not. We'll just put this back, clip it down. We'll clean this off, re-thermal paste it, clean the fan. You're gonna pull these fans, just disconnect the fan header from the motherboard, and then that should be 3 screws, and then you can clean your fan out really good. Because if anything, you're gonna wanna clean your fan for your CPU, because without that, your heat dissipation is severely hindered. And then it should come right out, just like that. Fan is cleaned, put it back. Less screws flying around, the better. Even if the power supply doesn't work, I mean, this is still educational. How to clean up your system fans here and put them back. The power supply, I looked up, could cost around $69, and it's supposed to be new replacement. So if that's all this takes to get it back up and running, plus maybe a $20 SSD, it'd be a really good investment. There's also the fan here for the power supply, which has 2 screws, which I'm going to take off now, and we are going to clean that as well. Then we're going to re-thermal paste the CPU. This is all cleaned up. So ideally you want to smear it, but I have one hand at the moment, so we will just do the best we can. Line up the screws. I'll plug this in and try to start it up here. If it doesn't work, then I will go ahead and... Alright, one more time. That's weird. Now it's on. I have to flip this over somehow. I have to see if the screen is on. The screen is on. What in the crap? I have no idea what's happening, but it's on. Alright, let's shut it down. So it kind of turned on, so I'm going to do another test. And then I'm going to hook everything up and leave some of the back plate off, partially at least, and turn it on and put a hard drive in here and see if we can't. You know, it could be that this power supply is flaking and on its way out. I don't know. Before I go and rip this power supply apart, I'm going to try testing it again. Could be that some connections are off. I don't know. Could be anything. Alright, we have to have this in here because this is where the stand is connected to. So this goes over here, which fits awkwardly now with all the cables back in place. But we'll try to start it back up and see if it turns on, recognizes hard drive or anything, and see if the power supply is stable or not. It's just a problem. These power supplies are known to die, so just want to let you know that SSDs love tape. They do. So there you go. Let's get the stand part back on and test this. And let's give this a shot. It's like a short. I think this is a good sign, right? Let's see if we can get into BIOS. I'm in the BIOS. i7 4770S. I mean, L1 is 256K or 1 meg and 16 gig of DDR3. I replaced the CMOS battery. We might be able to get this thing back up and running. This will be awesome, but it just depends on how long that power supply lasts for. Maybe my cleaning of everything did something. Maybe the connections are loose. Maybe somebody did something prior. I don't know. Let's set this up. Configured the boot process. Let's save changes and exit. See if it even reboots. I got the Dell symbol. That is good. We see something. This is the Windows loading. This is it. The moment of truth. We are in business. We still don't know what components could be bad. If the GPU is overheating, I don't know. That's the drive for the system. So we're going to put it on here. This is a Lexar 256 gig SSD. It's a SATA 6 and that's what this system has. So let's do it. See how far this goes. Crossing fingers. This is good. Be right back. And there you have it. Windows 10. We'll do some updates on this Dell XPS 2720. Then we'll do some benchmarks, and those benchmarks will serve as, well, a burn-in test to see if the power supply is going to hold. Now this system has a GeForce GT 750M, so I'll be interested to see how that performs. It also has the 4000 iGPU from this 4770, so basically look at some of the specs. So let me update and we'll be right back. This is exciting, yes. But there are some serious heat marks from some components in here, which mean they probably got super hot by taking these wires out of here and putting them on these, you know, positive and negative terminals, and then power this to this, and then I'll have wasted my time trying to rip all the wires out of here and put them on here. Because this is going to have an issue for the back of the machine anyways, because it won't technically close all the way, probably. So the Dell 2720 basically had a bad power supply. I fiddled around with something trying to get it to work, and I finally bit the bullet, and I got this package, well, compatible one, hopefully. It's supposed to be refurbished. No, it looks brand new to me. and it is a 300 watt unit. It's supposed to be compatible with this model, but I got it from AliExpress. It was the cheaper option that I could find. It comes with a built-in fan on this model, unlike the original, which may or may not provide it with extra longevity. The final test is to get it in the system, and here's what it looks like. So you've got your 6-pin power here for the motherboard here, and then you got your 4-pin, and then you hook it up, and just this is where the power comes in and feeds the power supply. This one's small, and hopefully it works. God, hope so. But they put like some double-sided stick tape on it, because there's technically no mounting brackets on here. So all you're gonna have is this, and it's gonna stick into the system, and maybe you could tape it down with some duct tape. But here's the specs on the system here, and it's 300 watt units. So here's the specs. Now, this costs about $84. The other ones, minimum 99 to 100 plus, just for a refurbed unit. This system was kind of a pet project for me, and I'm hoping this works, because I'm not putting any more money or anything into the system. Let's get to it. Let's slop it in, and perhaps it'll breathe life into the system. So the only way you can reach this over here is to run it this way, and just gonna have to mount it underneath, you know, tuck it, and then this will have to be kind of tucked in here too. This will fit right in here, and you have to put this in. This is the stand connector. You have to. It seems sturdy-ish. Let's put on the stand and test it. Fingers crossed. All right, so we've got the power supply in, and we're about to give it a test. Hopefully it doesn't smoke. Hopefully it turns on. Okay, it's turning on. That's a good sign. Ooh, we have Windows. Windows! All right, so I was able to load the Windows 10 on here prior. So let's take a look at it. So if you look here, look, it's a touchscreen. That is the coolest thing about this, and why I kind of wanted to get it to work. Well, let's take a look at the system task manager while we're in here. CPU, we've got the quad core 8-thread 4770S CPU, 16 gig of RAM, DDR3. So not bad, right? Yep. The HD 4600 graphics from the onboard Intel CPU, and then the GT 750M 2 gig. Wanted to show you that, hey, this system is pretty cool. Why? Because it is a touchscreen, has built-in DVD burner, it has a good resolution. Show you the display settings. 1440p screen. But I want to go on the web really quick. Firefox. Do output. Channel. A lot of it's testing. So I want to see if I can game on $100. A little bit of buffering, but it's 1080p. This is the last resort option, but it's available. Looks pretty sharp. Or not recommending it. Now with my Supreme. Well, what can I say? Final thoughts. I love this touchscreen on this Dell 2720. It's a 27-inch screen, 1440p, 16 gig of RAM, quad core 4770S, 8-thread CPU, 4th gen i7, It's got the onboard graphics, 4600 HD. It's got the GT 750M 2 gig graphics, dedicated chip on there as well, so you might be able to get some low-end gaming. It's a good machine. It sucks that I had to spend $86 to get a power supply, but I got one that supposedly is working, and fingers crossed will hold up for some time. The benefit of this is it's like a large iMac, but with a newer Intel CPU. It's not an iMac, of course, but it's touchscreen, DVD. You can get on the web. It's running Windows 10. You can put Linux on there. I could put a bigger SSD in there. To me, this is a good score, a good upgrade, worth the money. I mean, where are you going to get a 27-inch monitor just for $80? You can't, basically, unless you get a bargain barrel one, right? And a whole computer system for $87? Not even close. Well, I did put like a $14 SSD in there, so under $100 for this system. And it's touchscreen. This is the coolest ever. Not that I'm going to be using it for touchscreen, but I guess it came with Windows 8 or something like that, and it had touchscreen capability. And that's what that operating system is for. Never putting that system on there. But this system took a while to fix, mainly because lack of availability for parts, and two, me being cheap and justifying in my own mind spending the money to get a power supply that would fit in the unit, that would power it adequately. So after I reapplied all thermal grease, clean out all dust, this system hopefully will run after the burn-in. The next thing I'll do with this system later on is take it and see what we can do with it. Maybe upgrade the RAM, what kind of games we can play. So if you're interested in seeing things I do with this in the future, make sure you're subscribed and hit that like button, because it helps me out in the YouTube algorithm. Thanks for coming along with me in this journey and watching me rescue another PC. Thanks for watching. Remember this tech.